Well, lights settle down there.
I know, right? Shit's bright as hell.
Yeah, here, let's try this. Does that make a difference? It kind of does. This might not be needed.
Yeah, might not.
Yeah.
Nice and bright.
We are in here.
We in here.
All wrongs reserved.
AWR, baby.
Celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Now, that date is debated amongst some, but the general consensus. What was the name of the song, 1973? Do you have it on your head or in the notes there?
Well, there wasn't a specific name, but the song DJ Kool Herc did, there wasn't an official name to it. It was more like the technique he did with the turntables. It was called like a roundabout technique or something like that.
Right. I know what you're talking about. Interestingly enough, the wizard who apparently can destroy Eminem, Melly Mel, mentioned that the other day.
Yeah.
Well, at least to me when I was watching Vlad TV. Because as much as we do YouTube, I watch it a lot too.
Yeah.
But no, as for songs, I think the widely recognized song, Sugar Hill Gang.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They and group, and then they had a label.
Yeah, Sugar Hill Records.
Yeah, Sugar Hill Records, which was really successful. And wouldn't you know who ran into them recently?
Yeah,
boys. That was a really interesting experience.
That was so interesting.
Cool to see guys like that still willing to get out there too, you know?
Oh, absolutely, man. And the fact that, it wasn't necessarily the original lineup from back in the day that we ran into who performed at the Gathering.
No, half of them are dead.
Yeah. I mean, one of them, I think it was Henry Williams might be one of the original guys.
Yep. Yes, he is.
But I think Barshawn, the one who gave me the Henny, he is from I want to say the Funky Four plus one more, or not that's not the group.
What was the name of the
Five?
Yeah, Furious Five. That was Melly Mel. Melly Mel.
Yeah, Barshawn who gave me the Henny.
Barshawn and Melly Mel, and I forget the other three.
Yeah.
But Furious Five.
Yes. So yeah, it's interesting that throughout the years that lineup has kind of changed, but you still have
they were on Sugar Hill Records, though. I think that's where
that makes sense.
That works out. Funny enough, interestingly enough, Melly Mel and the Furious Five hated that song by Sugar Hill Gang.
Really?
Initially. Yep. They heard it, hated it, said this is stupid, sounds corny. Even then they thought this sounds too old school, which is really amazing for 1978.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And they said, but the people loved it. What the fuck are we going to argue with?
Exactly.
If we're trying to put a genre on, I mean, right?
Yeah, exactly. And plus, you got to start somewhere, and that song literally kicked it off for the 50 years that we're at now.
Because, like, we have 1973, but I think if you were to ask most people, even most hip-hop heads, they would say Sugar Hill Gang 78.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I would have until recently, and I consider myself to know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's an interesting history. I think for most people from there, you got to go to the 80s, and realistically, more like the late 80s, early 90s, but not to be ignored, guys like Ice-T, okay?
Yes.
In the middle of the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know you had a few notes there. Why don't you take this over and speak for a moment, dog?
Yeah, so even... mostly you think about the 80s, you think about the mid 80s with, Ice-T, LL, Run DMC.
Yeah, Run.
But you've also got, the early 80s still coming off the initial start from the 70s. You've got, Africa Bambaataa with fucking Planet Rock.
We're going to be really careful and be wise at the same time as to not talk in depth about African Bambaataa.
Yeah.
If that needs explaining to you, Google is your friend.
Yes.
African Bambaataa. I mean, you Google search that at your pleasure. Wow, that was terrible wording. God damn. Jesus.
Ooh.
Can't undo live, can you?
No.
Anyway,
we're live, pal.
Yeah, we're live, pal. We're speaking from a music perspective. We're not here to diagnose or dive into individual. But that's
right.
I just want to say this though. Every time I see someone on like Vlad TV or this and that's old school to do with hip hop, and that name comes up, there is this overwhelming, or the old brother cover up, which is I wasn't there. I can't say I wasn't, and it's like, dog, y'all did this with R. Kelly for 20 years.
Exactly.
Like, Bill Cosby, like, let it go.
Right.
Man. Anyway, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have taken away so much from that. But just when I hear that name, I recoil a little bit. But anyway, in a pioneer and innovator of hip hop.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
And it's interesting. When I was just refreshing myself on those older times, like it's amazing how you had Africa Bambaataa, start that off with Planet Rock, but how like they were originally on some like gang shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Like that's the amazing part, is that they went from like Zulu Nation and like other gangs, being a thing, to Zulu Nation being, well, again, YouTube appropriate and being careful, being more rap based. So it's interesting how that kind of morphed.
The streets infiltrating the MCs, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? From
exactly.
That was one thing that Melly Mel said in that interview that I did think was really interesting. He's like, you don't have street motherfuckers being entertainers, and you don't have entertainers trying to be street motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And that I could not have agreed with more. I mean, I get selling, like, so Dre and Snoop, right?
Right.
Kind of lived a tough background, had very close family members, etc., that were involved in gangs. Even Snoop himself, earlier on to a degree,
right,
talking at Tupac, talking about those life experiences.
Yeah.
But when that's not, we're to a point where we got Lil Pump. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if it's if it's something that's in your catalog of life experience, I think it's all fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you're just, let me get a Sharpie, I'll put my hat on, I'll fuck it up. Here, how about this? I'm gonna become a white rapper, right? Like, or not even white rapper, but modern rapper, right quick. Get me a Sharpie and let me punch myself in my own eye like 5 fucking times. And I don't want to ruin this hat. It's too nice. But and then I'll say something about Xanax and other drugs. And here I am, Lil Cool Ray. Lil Cool Ray. You need to check out my motherfucking mixtape, y'all. I don't know why I talk like this, but it's what I do. When you mix those two things together, they sell records to someone. Kids.
Yeah,
kids,
they do.
Kids. We said it. But really, I think for music's history, and we want to be positive with hip hop,
of course,
because it deserves it.
Hell yeah.
Who else? So going into, because the later '80s, as you know, that's where a lot of shit happens.
Oh yeah,
good, bad, ugly, but progressing rap and hip hop.
Right.
Speak on it.
So you start to get into the late '80s. You still got LL and Run DMC, Ice-T doing their thing. You've even got beefs happening, like fucking Kool Moe Dee and LL. They had their beef for a long time throughout the '80s. I think.
Well, and you get guys like Kool G Rap.
Yes.
Start showing up on the scene.
Exactly.
Things start going coast to coast.
Yep.
Stylistically, they broaden.
Yeah.
I don't know about quite '80s, but Tim Dog's on the horizon.
Right.
Very soon.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't forget NWA.
Yeah.
They were '80s pioneers, Jerry Curls, and all that.
Hell
right?
Yeah.
And what they speaking on them, and look, everyone said everything there is to say about NWA. Whether you like their music or not, or think they're overrated, or love them to death, greatest thing ever, the undeniable thing about NWA is that they took something that was this big, that I could hold my hand, to bigger than the room.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? They also took a genre of music to white America, every city in America, and eventually I think they even went outside of America. I could be mistaken on that, but I want to say NWA was basically worldwide come 88, 89.
Yeah, I believe so. I feel like they had like one big tour outside of.
They had to. I mean, they had to.
Yeah, especially at that point.
I don't have facts in front of me, but I do. What I do know is that no one was doing that before.
Yeah.
No one was able to take rap music, especially hard shit.
Exactly.
Right? And take it to Ohio cities that are audiences 80% white, right?
Yeah.
And blowing it the fuck down, fuck the police style.
Right.
So for that, if nothing else, and there's a lot else, they deserve tons of credit for. Also, Yella and Dre co-producing, so that the whole co-producing thing, and that cohesiveness that they had, I think that is something else that probably came. I know other musicians that play guitar. They play guitar together. That's not new. They're called bands. However, producing hip hop music together.
Yeah, that was a first for that time.
Usually, one person has a vision, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
They're on the reels, and that's how it goes. Right?
Yep.
They're on the switchboard. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
And those were very co-produced things, as a unit. So again, salute to them. And I've got some very valuable vinyl from them. Which getting that in Orlando for $30. Poor fool didn't know what he had.
Yeah, that was crazy, dude.
I feel stupid for opening. I feel so dumb, but I was just, me, when I get excited. I got to take the wrapper off the rubber, if you will.
And one thing about NWA I'd like to point out, I feel like they really kicked down the door for the sound that we got in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, because then you get into the Chronic, right?
Yeah.
And Snoop Dogg and Doggy Style, right?
Yes.
And also the then almost premature rivalry with Tim Dog.
Yeah.
Fuck Compton. Step to me.
Yeah.
Step to me. I can hear that song at any time of the day. It could be 6 a.m, and I'm just winky, winky, and Step to Me comes on. Dog, and I will pop out of bed like this. I'm ready to fucking go. The rhyme schemes are simple.
Yeah.
Simple as all get out.
Very.
And yet his delivery, you know what I mean? It's just there's with certain artists in hip hop, they can be super lyrical, so Eminem.
Right.
They can be kind of the opposite, which is you sound cool in the club to hose to a beat, right? I don't even know who that is these days, but we've seen plenty of them. Right. And then you have all this stuff in between, right?
Yeah.
And from NWA to the Dre stuff in the 90s, you start to get more sampling from the past where it becomes a more enriched musical genre.
Yep.
And the lyrics start developing.
Exactly. And it's interesting because...
Speaking of some of the old music so well, you have to speak
about it. Especially sampling. That's my bread and butter now.
Yeah. Who's up? Let me see. I got it.
Looks like... God, I need an eye exam soon.
David. What's up,
Yeah, what up, David?
Oh, dude, DMX is...
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the list.
Yeah, he's on the list. But no, sampling, it's interesting you mentioned that, because even going back to, Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight, that song was sampled from Good Times by Sheets.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so sampling was definitely done back in the day. I just watched the whole sample video earlier that Tracklib has on their YouTube. And it's amazing how that goes as far back as Kool Herc hitting that party, his sister's party or whatever, back in 73, on this day in 73.
Look how much it's evolved.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, what we're talking about here is sampling back then was almost downright stealing and adding something.
Absolutely. Taking James Brown breaks and other breaks here and there.
But now you sample something and you might take a singular drum out of a singular 15-second part of a song.
God, yeah. Or a single note from a song and reverse it. It is amazing how much that has changed throughout the 50 years of hip hop.
And that makes me think. I've heard, and you can picture the crowd of people, what they might look like, who tends to say sentences like this. Rap music isn't really music. They just steal other music.
Oh, I can't stand that sentence.
White people in Florida who play pickleball. Sorry if you play pickleball. I love my parents and they love hip hop. But you know the crowd.
No, I know it.
Maybe they're on a specific side of the dock in Montgomery. You know who it is, right?
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, okay, if you want to call it stealing, I guess, but what do you call licensing rights?
Yeah.
Is that theft? It's no, and also, okay, back in the day where it's straight, almost a direct copy and paste.
Right.
All right. Today, like we just said, a singular hi-hat or something like that. And you still have licensing and stuff. And then there's what makes it what it becomes.
Exactly.
And that's everything around it.
Yeah.
I call it the most creative genre.
Yeah, and
in music.
And it's interesting because there have been so many
perspective.
Yeah, there has been so many notable cases of sampling where whoever does it gets hit with some big ass lawsuits.
Oh yeah.
I think about Beastie Boys was probably the best example from back in the day.
Well, it's become more accepted now, don't you think? Versus then,
I would say it's
part of it
very
too.
much more accepted because back in the day you had instances like Beastie Boys album, one of was it Paul's Boutique. That's a great example. You had
Paul's Boutique was a problem for them.
Oh my god,
It
yeah.
cost a lot of money to work it out too.
Yeah, like them. Another example. A few De La Soul albums, a few of their early albums, they had a similar issue.
Was a lot heavier then too, because like we said, it's become more individualistic versus straight copy paste.
Right.
Let me check out the chat here real quick.
Oh yeah.
David, I see you up in here. Alex, what's
Ooh,
up, dog?
Mr. Alex, what up, dog?
Talking about sampling, I always think about Mad Villain. Well, look, dude, like we said, you can go all the way from sampling from like we said, the 70s, where you're taking a break beat. I mean, actually, they didn't even have break beats then. I don't think.
They didn't have break beats, but they took from like switches. James Brown songs and shit, and
so
back and forth,
and then layered, right?
They didn't quite do layering back then
because they had dual wheels though.
Yep, they had a dual wheel, so they just did like the James Brown cut from like one record and then switched to another one.
Yeah.
So like a round robin technique back then.
Yeah. All right. So, and now, like we said, it's become this thing where it can be so minuscule yet so important.
Yeah.
To your beat, and only like his music. All right. Certain Ice Cube song he decided to touch on, and now he did rework it and stuff. That's a new term also that you hear.
Yeah.
Reworked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's basically a way of saying, I remixed your shit and I did it with my vocals. You reworked it. It's your own song.
Yeah.
And then I found out I'm watching. What was it? Was it next Friday?
Yeah, it was next Friday.
Next Friday.
It's an
intro. The intro with Warner Brothers comes on and ding, and I'm just sitting there like he cold jacked it.
And then I
I'm telling this man. I almost had to beat him up. Almost had to beat him up in my own house.
Oh god!
In my own house. So disappointed, yet proud at the same time.
Yeah, funny enough, Alex mentioned another example of my sampling abilities. Except for I didn't make the beat.
We say that to you.
He said, "Beat her with the damn SpongeBob sample is number one on my list." Yeah, good old. I don't need it from my EP a few years ago. It's a Trap 1 where my brother and I, B. Allen, where we rapped on the damn SpongeBob sample.
Hey, dude, just like I say about jokes, brother. Is it funny? That's what I say about jokes. There's no other criteria.
Yeah.
With music, is it good?
Yeah.
That's my only other criteria.
Yeah, no, for real.
With music, that's my only criteria. So now we're starting to talk about the 90s a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is where our lives start to become affected a bit.
Yes.
Why don't you go first a little bit, getting into talking about the 90s and throw in some personal things for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Or as it relates to you. And then I'll go ahead too, because I got a few funny stories of being a kid as well. But you go ahead first.
So for me, I'd start with probably the first song that I distinctly remember hearing when I was like 4 years old. And that was it Notorious by Notorious B.I.G. That was off the Born Again album. And all I remember hearing was the chorus, which funny enough was a sample from a Duran Duran song. Notorious. Yes. And that just got stuck in my head. And I remember
it's just the smallest part though.
Yeah, well, that one actually stole a little bit more. So like there's like the main melody that sampled it, and then the hook with the Notorious, Puff Daddy. He was a big criminal, copy paste for sure.
Hold up. Puff Daddy's idea was copy and paste, add drums because we're extra black. I'm just saying what it is.
No, that's true though.
Copy and paste, and his idea was add drums. It's now hip hop.
He was very notorious for that. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself.
Nice choice of words there. Very notorious for that, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I can't talk too much.
Hey, like jokes, is it funny with music? Does it sound good?
Yeah.
That's where we are. Anyway, go on.
But I distinctly remember hearing that song with my mom and my aunts when we were coming back from someplace when I was like 4 years old, and that was really my like backdoor introduction to hip hop. The first song I truly remember, and I just remember it made me feel good anytime I heard it. And lo and behold, I kept hearing more by Biggie around it. I think Hypnotized, I didn't hear that too much longer after that. And
well, it would have came out around that time.
Yeah.
Because You at 4 is 96. So Posthumous Biggie 97. Yeah, I mean that would be when it came out, it was new then.
Oh yeah, dude. So yeah, so for me back then I was like, oh, this sounds cool. Back then all I remembered was the hook, which is usually what draws you in. That's all it was. Yeah, especially when you're younger, that's what draws you in.
Yeah, when you're young, that's all you can do.
Oh yeah, dude.
Is the hook good? That's all your brain can comprehend or even understand. Now, I'll go back to you in just a second, but I just want to share one thought real quick. It's funny. This is one of those areas where, like, you and I are so similar in so many ways, yet we could not be more different in others.
Absolutely.
I mean, just physical. I mean, as you can see, we're exactly the same size with exactly the same skin tone. Same height, everything, right? Now, but the parts of us that are very different. So, like, I am a walking example of, I think, what eventually, I'm not going to skip ahead, but what Eminem did, and that was bring it to the suburbs. I didn't grow up with people listening to rap music.
Right, I remember you telling me that.
I wasn't 4 years old in 93, 94, and my mom was bumping rap albums.
Yeah.
Now I did get, I guess I would consider it hip hop because my mom listened to Lauryn Hill. But to me, that wasn't rap. It was singing. It was more R&B. To me, that's the way I perceived it at that age, right? Mm-hmm. So the point is, I didn't grow up around any of that. So all of it for me was raw discovery. And you can argue all day which is better. On one hand, I wish I had grown up with Biggie bumping in my car from my parents. On the other hand, I don't take for granted how awesome it was just individually discovering everything as if it was mine.
Oh, yeah, that makes it even better.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Out in Chanhassen, Minnesota. Right? You know, so just, it's funny how we could grow up, that's only 20 minutes apart. Not that house where that is in Chan might even be like 16, 17 minutes. Not far.
Yeah.
You're in the inner city in South.
Yeah.
And I'm in a burb, upper middle class burb. And the difference, and yet if you go linear, we meet at the same spot. And since then, same wavelength, right?
Absolutely.
And from a young age. So for me, it was certainly, like I was telling you at dinner, Juvenile and DMX and Dr. Dre, Eminem, those, when I think of the first people that I went, I can't not have this in my life. Like, I don't know what it is, but this is the shit. Those are like the four names that come to mind to me for myself. But no, I have a couple funny stories, but go back to you real quick. I just want to mention how it's cool. It's funny and cool how we can be so different. Grow up so fucking different.
Yeah.
And just find this same track.
Well, it's funny.
But before we were both 10.
Yeah, exactly. But it is funny you mentioned Lauryn Hill because my Aunt Ruby, my mom's sister, she was the one who actually put me on to the Fugees and, Lauryn Hill, Wyclef, and Pras, all three of them. And so
I'm glad you're not president. God, I just hate Wyclef, Sean. Sorry, I shouldn't interrupt a good story.
But I distinctly remember because my aunt, let's see, that was 96, 97. She was about in high school during that time. So, Fugees, The Score had just come out. And I remember I knew of Ready or Not just from, being around her. But knowing about the Fugees as a whole was amazing to even know because I never would have thought about a female rapper when I was that young.
Yeah, that took me a while to even wrap my head around.
Yeah, same, dude.
It wasn't sexism or anything. It was just you think of when you're a kid. When you're a kid, you don't even think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You just look at everything as a surface value. So you think of rap dudes, chains,
right?
Like women doing it, huh? Now that's changed a lot.
Oh God,
right? But so we're talking a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But those people really. I mean, she did help really make that serious.
Yes.
And she was for real.
Oh yeah.
With skills and everything. Pest talking about Cypress Hill. Question mark? Yeah, we're gonna be getting there because that's right about where we are in the linear mode. Where they came into my life is a bit later, but yes, they're in this conversation, no doubt about it. David, I'm gonna lay here and fall asleep supporting my homies listening. This is such an amazing subject. AWR for life.
Hey,
back at you for life.
Appreciate you, brother. For life.
Back up in here. I have a vivid memory of being introduced to rap with Lil White, Oxycontin. Now, see, that's funny that was his introduction.
Yeah, I forgot about that,
and
actually.
Yet so fucking fitting because that song, again, when you're young, you can't, like, DMX, as a youngster, you're just listening to the choruses and how hard they go.
Oh, of course.
You don't understand that subject matter. I don't care if you're black, white, poor, rich, that you could, at that young, we're talking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. You can't understand that stuff.
Not at all. I mean, I've told you personally, like, my dad was bumping that, plenty of times. I was with him on the weekends, and I didn't understand any of it,
but if Party Up came on, you're...
Yeah, exactly.
Up in here? That's how the kid brain works.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, that's... So Oxycontin by Lil White is definitely one of those songs, too. At least to me when I was young, too. As I think back on that and thinking, this is stupid. It's all about, I was like, just old enough to understand it was all about drugs. And yet, fucking Oxycontin, Xanax bars, Percocets, and Loratabs, Valiums, morphine patches, ecstasy, and it's all up for grabs. What you want, what you need, hit me up, I got you, man. I mean, it's all there.
Yeah.
And it hits. I hope you appreciated that, Alex. Or if you didn't, I'm very sorry. So now, Cypress Hill. He does bring that up. For me, Cypress Hill, I'll be straight. We're going to talk more about Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill, I didn't get into them until I was probably in my late teens, 20s. Now, I'd heard their music.
Yeah,
their hits, hits from the bong, but when I was a teen, getting into Cottonmouth Kings and stuff because they did work together.
Yeah.
And they are absolutely a freaking staple in hip hop.
Yes.
And they are an interesting group because some people would call them the most overrated ever.
I'll touch on that in a second.
That's right. You're gonna correct yourself in a minute.
Well, and that's the thing, though. I think
it's kind of fair. I get where you come from.
Yeah.
But hold on one second.
Yeah, I got you.
No, they have a history that does go back to early 90s, if not 80s, as far as a crew, living that street life and gang life, but also being a perfect example of becoming entertainers.
Yes.
Instead of trying to be both.
Right.
You know what I mean? They went, well, we can be weed heads and still be entertainers, but we ain't shooting nobody and getting shot every day and still being entertainers because one gets you killed.
Exactly.
And so I give Cypress a lot of credit for figuring out how to not be studio gangsters, but not be like they found their lane, that where they could do like stuff that was very popular, radio playable, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
And then they also had Temples of Boom, which I think of as just like an underground cult classic.
Yeah.
A couple mainstream hits on there, but most people, they wouldn't know that album like we do.
Exactly.
And it's so sonically pleasing. That's where that album and Cypress Hill, Lethal, they really started to take the beats to a whole nother level with mixing.
Absolutely.
So that's all I'll say about Cypress for now. But now back to you, and we're going to kind of, I guess, I'll wrap up with the 90s in a second, but you go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on Cypress for a second. Now, I, of course, just like you, I knew of their hits, but I didn't really get to dive into them. I know there was that year they were at Sound Sets. I want to say that was 2010.
The Gathering Junior.
So I didn't really get to dive into them more. I think probably until post high school, to be honest. And yes, I definitely am on record with a few people saying they're overrated, but I have gladly walked that back because I actually think in a lot of ways they are very underrated.
Yeah, I would say, I know that sounds like a crazy fucking sentence. Like, wait, Cypress Hill is underrated? And it's like, yeah, actually, a few of their albums are.
Yeah, they are.
Today. If we're talking 20 years ago, no, or 15 years ago, no, I wouldn't say they were underrated. But today, I would say, these kids, they don't, and when I say kids, I mean anyone from age 16 to like 25. They don't know shit about fuck.
Yeah, not at all, man.
And it's really, I know I'm sounding like an old man here scratching my bowels, but it's just the truth. They don't have the curiosity that we had. And so but hey, look, they say you died 2 deaths. When your heart stops beating and when someone says your name for the last time. And it's going to be a long time, kids or not, no matter who's alive, what generation it is, it's going to be a long time before someone says the name Cypress Hill for the last time.
Right.
Now that's staying power. And that's
absolutely.
Legacy. So for me, let me give a little 90s for me hip hop story. So here, hit the chat real quick. Get up on these fools before I talk about this. This is an entertaining little ditty, but let's talk to Foos if they wish.
So let's see. From Jester Beats, we got let's see, bro. I was 7. Mentioned DMX front to back, or memorized DMX front to back. Why? Why is
that's impressive at 7?
Yeah, that's wow.
I can barely do that in my 30s. He's so difficult to memorize his cadence and bars, and I can spit a lot of different rapper shit. That's impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
Go on. Anybody else?
Let's see. We got what up, Bryson Corey.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Oh, MC Wicksplitter mentioned the Gravediggers. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with them.
That is RZA's group. They were
oh right.
The horrorcore group.
Yeah. Right. Don't forget that a lot of these guys have dabbled in what might be considered juggalo otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, your 3-6 Mafia, right?
Covered
Amazing Jekyll Brothers stuff in Malenko back in the day.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I don't know enough to speak about that group, but definitely a good mention.
Oh yeah.
You know, this is for everybody. They're your favorite group. Moment, decade, year. What do you think was pivotal? What was pivotal to hip hop's growth? What do you think was a low point? I mean, you can throw anything that is significant to you within a 50-year history. Put it in here. But quick little story time.
Yeah.
So now I might get the year wrong, so you have to forgive me. It's either 98 or 99. 400 Degrees by Juvenile comes out.
Hey.
Now, I was, let's see, 8, 9, 10 years old. 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
Living at 86 Castle Ridge in Old Chan, where I grew up as a little kid. And that album came out. And I watched MTV a lot at that time because back then, that's actually how you consumed some music or learned about things.
Exactly.
I know it's crazy, but it's true.
Crazy.
So I'm watching TRL, but I can't talk today. TRL, and that song, the single comes out, Back That Ass Up, in the video. And then I see the album cover. Hold this. The album cover, and y'all know the album cover, 400 Degrees, is Juvenile with all the fire around him, like this, and all the gold, and then the hot ass bitches all. And I thought it was just, and my favorite color is orange, so not a hard sell for me.
Right.
And again, you think like a kid.
Oh,
the cover's cool. That's enough for a kid
to
get in the door. Oh, and the single's cool. I only understand the chorus because I can't understand his accent much otherwise. Fucking awesome. Coolest thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
I go buy the album, right? We go to what was Kmart at the time, actually.
Ooh, okay.
I get 400 Degrees, take it home. I have a little stereo about this big. Like a single speaker, one CD, enough to please a 9-year-old, right? And I guess my parents heard enough of it, particularly my dad. He did not like it. He didn't like it at all. Now, I don't think he understood any of the words with that Louisiana accent other than the swear words and maybe some of the sexual references and Back That Ass Up, which by today's standards are super mild.
Yeah.
And he took it from me and he bought me a clean version. Now, any of y'all who have been a child and have been handed the clean version of an album.
Oh, man. I got some stories about that.
You just want to punch something.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's just, and I remember trying to explain to my parents, no, I don't care about the swear words or that content, this content. Content wasn't even a fucking word we used back then. But, I just like the sound and the beats. And so my dad's like, well, then you'll like the clean version, you know? And you're like, no, I want fuck. I want fuck. Right? And so the clean version lasted 2 fucking days, dog. And I don't know what came over me, but one night my dad had he wasn't. He was doing the old dad in the recliner thing, right, on his chair, falling asleep. Maybe 9:30. Sun's just kind of going down, and I grab his car keys. I go out to his car. For some reason, I just figured he still had the original dirty version, and he did. To his credit, he didn't throw it away. I go in his trunk. There it is.
Nice.
I take the dirty version out of his trunk, put the clean version right back where the dirty version was. And long story short, Dad gave up shortly after that. And Corey listened to the dirty version. Now, when the Marshall Mathers LP came out shortly after, that was a new hurdle. And then again, I kid you not, Hell's Pit came out in 2004. I'm 14, 15. My dad had a bit of a problem with that at the time, just because of the blatant cover, axes, stabs, and body slabs.
Yeah.
But he knew at the end of the day, okay, he's now old enough. Like, yes, this is when they ID'd you at Best Buy and shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
so
God.
my dad had to buy it for me, and I'm handing him my $15 cash, which was probably several mowed lawns or whatever.
Yeah.
And but no, Juvenile for me was it was like a gateway drug.
Yeah.
And it was like, wait, I'm not supposed to hear this? I gotta hear more. And the homies mentioned DMX. DMX, same thing. Difference was with DMX, I was not forget the New Orleans accent was what was hard to understand with Juvie. With DMX, I literally couldn't comprehend or even understand the words and the stuff he was talking about.
Yeah,
I don't know what
for me.
I'm 9 years old. I don't know what the HEF is. I don't know what addiction is. I don't know what all these different things are. I just know that Party Up goes hard as fuck.
Exactly.
And that Rough Riders Anthem goes hard as fuck. Yep. And other than that, I was like, okay, I don't really have any value here. So to me, they were CDs that had a few good songs and no other use.
Right.
Fast forward later in life, dog, those albums mean more to me, his first 5, the 5-year run, than much music in this world. There's not much above it for me. So it just goes to show how music can grow with you in time, or you can grow with it, right?
Exactly.
So for me, that's the 90s. Now, 2000s.
Ooh.
Sir, excuse me, my hands are a bit sweaty.
So I immediately have a good story from the.
This is good for you too, because you're 3 years younger than me, 2-3 years younger than me, depending on the date, right?
Right.
And I think that gives you a little bit better of a view at the 2000s, because I went. By 03, I went Juggalo.
Right.
And I did not look back. Like, the last mainstream record I bought in the 2000s was probably 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying. Loved it.
Yeah.
There was Eminem Show the year before that. But after that, it was Hell's Pit. And I'm telling you, I didn't look back until much later in my life at anything that was mainstream.
Right.
So I think you're better equipped to speak here.
No, for sure.
Not that there wasn't Ludacris and other that I can talk about, but you should take it away.
Oh, man. So I definitely have a few funny stories specifically with my stepbrothers, but I want to hit the chat because we've definitely missed a few things. So let's hit the chat. What we got in there?
Let me see here. At Eat Hooks, bro, don't do too much, Snoop Dogg. I'm not sure what that means. Clean versions of Malenko and Jekyll Bros were a thing. You know, I don't think I've ever owned a copy of those in a clean version.
I can't even imagine the clean version of those.
I don't even.
How does that work?
I don't know how you do Fuck the World Clean. That's interesting. We might have to find those.
Yeah.
Just to listen to them.
Oh,
we appreciate you, dog. That's interesting. That's Meat Hooks who hit us with that.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know.
I
know that Malenko they remade a bunch of times because they removed tracks. But I didn't realize that there was a clean. But it makes sense.
Yeah.
It was that era.
Yep.
Anyway, Juvenile Slow Motion. Yeah, that was a little later. 2000s, what we're about to talk about here.
04, yeah.
That's about where I left the mainstream. But no, it's a great song. Meat Hooks, DMX brought hip hop back from Puffy and Mace. Happy shiny rap era. No lies detected. No lies detected.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement entirely. And it's factual. DMX, MC Wig Splitter, DMX had all the kids at school barking like dogs. Also a fucking fact.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even in white ass Chanhassen. Yeah. If you knew who X was, you could get away with going, ow, ow. And everyone just be like, sweet. Kyle, that was awesome. That's how it was. Get off me. We can't all be from Murderapolis. Meat hooks again. DMX had 1 million people. Yeah, barking at Woodstock '99.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, also true. It was dope that ICP was also there too.
Hell yeah.
Juggalos were in the house. I feel like that was probably a really big part of the golden era. That '99.
Oh, definitely, dude.
And even though Woodstock '99 didn't turn out great for people, it's quite a memorable event. And there were memorable shows. So definitely. No, that it always deserves a mention.
And that's definitely another turning point, like you said, because not only did stuff continue to kind of take that aggressive approach, but it really carried things into the 2000s with that aggression. Like I think of cats like Mystical, which like African Bambaataa.
Yeah.
Just like with African Bambaataa, we gonna keep it brief on Mystical for reasons. But you know, you had the aggression carry on. Like Mystical was getting bigger. Ludacris was
danger. Your head is bald. I don't know why you get haircuts at all. How's that? How's that for Mystical?
That's pretty good, Mystical.
I'm pretty fucking mystical, huh? I don't know why you get haircuts at all.
But you know, you had,
head is bald.
Yeah, guys like Mystical. Ludacris was getting way more prominent and had a nice balance of aggression, but also very slick on the mic. Same, dude.
He was, remind me, his first album, Back for the First Time.
Yep.
Is that what it's called?
That it is called.
I remember, again, this is at old Castle Ridge Court. I was playing in the snow in the backyard. Remember, this is when all you had was a Walkman, the over-the-head headphones. Yeah. If you had a CD player that didn't skip, ballin'. I'm telling you, this is how old I am. I know. You probably only remember the anti-skip ones. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
There used to be ones that skipped.
Yeah.
And that was my first one I got from my grandmother. And that was the first record I put in it.
Ooh.
Anybody else remember those things called clip hits? You had one single earbud you'd put in, and it was this singular little MP3 player that you'd plug a chip into, and it would play 60 seconds of whatever song you bought in a little piece of plastic.
I had one of those actually.
Hit clips.
Yeah, mine was for a different song, but I do remember those.
Well, they had tons of different songs.
Yeah.
You could buy different songs from Britney Spears, but none of it was awesome rap, of course. And the sound quality was terrible. But it was the MP3 idea a whole 10 years before it.
Right.
Anyway, just a weird music flashback I had there. Now, 2000s, Ludacris becomes very big for me all the way through word of mouth.
Yeah.
And then was it Chicken and Beer that was after?
Yep, Chicken and Beer, because that was word of mouth was like 01, 02.
Yeah.
Word of mouth was 03.
Yep.
And then Red Light District was about 04, 05, which I remember getting for Christmas that year from my mom.
See, I did
not listen. Great album. Great album.
I departed there. I never heard that record.
Oh,
I don't
dude.
know if to this day I have ever heard that album. Word of mouth, Chicken and Beer, and then I'm telling you, the carnival came into my life,
and
fucked everything off.
Yeah,
it was such a rabbit hole for me. I found Esham, Nada Slater, Cottonmouth Kings. I found Cypress Hill because of shit they did with Cottonmouth Kings.
Yeah,
Tech Nine was coming.
Mm-hmm.
ICP, Twisted, ABK. I mean, it was a whole new world for me.
Oh yeah, so
I have to admit for myself that there is an era, and it's between that 03 to early 2010s where I fucked everything off that wasn't underground. Look, I have a fucking necro tattoo, and I hate the guy. Love the music though.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. Sorry to interrupt. Go on. You were speaking.
But yeah, Ludacris, like you said, for you was also big for me. That was an album I got.
What do you think he did that was unique? Why do you think he hit so well?
For me, I'd say it's a balance of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Like being over the top with his rhymes and videos, but also having the bars to back it up. Like it's not too often that you get that combo well done, and to be over the top, a little loud with the, Atlanta twang.
You know what I get from it? Especially when I think of the word of mouth artwork.
Yeah.
he had, if Busta Rhymes was from Atlanta, thing going on.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That does make a lot of sense, actually.
Because what did Busta have? He had rhythm, and he was loud. He was very clever.
Yeah.
Lyrical. Highly unique, even for a genre that's already unique, and everyone's desperate to be unique. And also kind of the hairstyles, the look, the loudness.
Oh, yeah.
While also being chill as can be.
Very
I think
similar.
Ludacris, and it's not that he's not an individual, but when I think of him, I think of Busta, and Luda was the ATL version. And to me, for me personally, that's what brought Southern rap music into my life, was Ludacris. Further than the Cash Money Camp.
Right.
Because to me, the Cash Money Camp right here in New Orleans was the Cash Money Camp. I didn't listen to any other Southern stuff. It was just Cash Money. Yeah. And of course, no limit to a degree. But that's also, where are they from? Louisiana. Right? Yeah. New Orleans. So that same area. So he brought Atlanta, and then you start, all of a sudden, you got fucking Paul Wall, Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
Yep, and a guy who I think is underappreciated. And I'm dead fucking serious about this. This was probably, again, one of the last mainstream things I did.
I know who you're going to say.
Who do you think?
Chamillionaire?
No, but he's definitely a part of this same equation. But probably one of the last mainstream albums, again, that I bought, Lil Flip.
Oh.
Flippa. So for me, the early 2000s was me absorbing a ton of Southern content.
Yeah.
That's what it was for me. And then I found Outkast. In that process, of course. And they're the, UGK, right?
Right.
So that's what I think of.
It's interesting you mentioned Little Flip, because I didn't personally listen to him a lot, but my older brother Bryce, he listened to Little Flip a lot.
He can rap, bro.
Yeah. I mean, a few songs I listened to here and there, but Lil Flip was definitely more of my older brother. Like, he fucked with Little Flip way more than I did.
Hey, he and I share some things in common for sure.
Yeah.
We always have. He's I have to show you some of that I can't remember the name of the damn album. It was Blue. It had him on it. I think it was his debut.
I believe his album was called Game Over, same as the title track.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that video a lot from when BET showed music videos.
This is why I often don't even bother to remember things, because he will. I ain't even playing. Sometimes I don't bother to remember things. I will just text them to Bryce and tell him to remember it.
Yeah, it does happen.
This is a perfect example. I mean, this old thing's been trusty to me. Okay. So, no, damn, that's good. It was blue. It had like a fire-ish outline writing.
Yep.
It's him on the front, chains, hat cocked. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that cover.
Now, and then that's again where I start to truly go over into the underground, which is not to be ignored either, because
absolutely.
That's another unique thing about hip hop, that's what we're talking about.
Hell yeah.
Is that hip hop has such a unique subset known as the underground.
Yes.
And I don't know any other genre of music where you can be in the in other genres of music, in the underground means you're not discovered yet, you're not rich.
Right.
In rap, that's not the case.
Yeah, not at all.
Guys like Jelly Roll, who's mainstream now, huge underground. Tech Nine, huge. ICP to this day, they will never be mainstream.
Right.
Multi millionaires. The list goes on and on and on and on and on.
Yep.
Right?
Hell yeah.
So that's another unique thing about hip hop, is its fans are uniquely devoted to it.
Yes.
Onward, 2000s, then to the 2010s.
Yes. So one funny story I feel like I gotta mention when I think of the 2000s. West Side's second album drops, Terrorist Threats.
Ooh.
Which that is a staple for me, along with other albums, especially when I got into rapping myself. But one specific instance of one specific song I have to mention. So this was, I believe, back in the winter of 2004. So Terrorist Threats.
Terrorist Threats by West Side Connection.
Yes, Terrorist Threats by West Side Connection. Still fairly new. Again, the common theme of the hook being stuck in your head. Me and my stepbrother.
Which they did very well.
Yes. Their hit Gangsta Nation from that album. I remember, me, Bryce, and Jabri, my brothers, we loved the hook on that, and all we had known was the clean version. Now, I think it was my dad's explicit version of Terrorist Threats that was either at my grandma's or Bryce managed to lift, and we ended up listening to it one time.
Lift means steal.
Yes, steal. So we finally heard
Bryce.
So yeah, the big bro,
the one with the eye.
yeah, the big bro B. Allen, big brother Bryce,
went a pluckaroo.
Yeah, he ended up taking it, and we finally heard the dirty version of Terrorist Threats, or not just Terrorist Threats, but Gangsta Nation. We finally heard the dirty version of that, and it blew our young minds. We were like, "Oh, that's what that's supposed to say?" Like, oh shit!
Isn't that funny
It
too?
was like a whole new world for us.
When you're a kid and you've only heard clean versions because of MTV or whatever,
Yeah,
and then you hear like the real gin and juice,
yeah,
or whatever it may be,
yeah,
and you're just like, I've been robbed.
Yeah, we were like, oh, okay.
It's like how my mom only bought Miracle Whip when I was growing up, so I thought I didn't like mayonnaise. And then at age 14, I had real mayonnaise. And I turned to my mom and I said, "You've lied to me and ruined a whole food for me for my whole life." I was legitimately mad at her. Subway accidentally put mayonnaise on my sandwich.
Yeah.
I was so hungry I decided to eat it. Realized I liked mayonnaise. It's just that my mom buys this fruity shit. You happen to like. It's fine. I know some people like Miracle Whip. But no, same thing.
Yeah.
You're discovering, oh my God, here's the fattened version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? A version with some titties.
Yeah. And it was just so funny just thinking back on that, because I remember one specific time shortly after we had heard the dirty version of Gangsta Nation, we were shoveling like the front little porch section at my grandma's place in St. Paul. And I'm just quoting, "What the fuck is Ice Cube talking about? That's how you get these nuts." And they're just looking at me like, "Oh," I'm like, "What? Like, we know the dirty version by now."
I would love to hear a junior Bryce Foster say those lyrics. I mean, I think I'd cry tears of laughter. It'd be so brilliant. It's funny you mentioned that record. Who has a hard copy of that on vinyl? It was brand new sealed. Who has it? Oh, you do.
Hey,
you do.
Yes.
Boy. No, that's a good one you mentioned. Now, interestingly, the only reason I didn't bring them up yet, for me, I discovered West Side Connection later in life.
Oh, right.
Basically, you. I mean, I'd heard some of their singles, but you bought me the albums.
Yeah.
And I went, well, why not? Right?
Yeah,
and I still had a CD player in my car at the time. I remember texting you while driving, which I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Looking down at red lights like, these are fucking amazing. How did I never hear these albums? I feel like such a crack up bitch. Send. Those albums. It's such a shame we don't, and we can do this with so many rap groups that didn't or should have. The fact they only have 2 records, just like NWA.
Yeah.
Like, God dang it, dude.
Right.
But those 2 are freaking gems. And Terrorist Threats was lost a lot at its time because it came out in 2003 around Get Rich and Die Trying.
Yeah.
This shit only went gold to begin with, man.
Yeah.
If that came out now,
oh my God.
all us old heads would make it go platinum in a weekend.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, it's such a classic. One I listen to several times a year. I mean, and when I'm in the mood for it, over and over.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now we get towards kind of the late 2000s and the 2010s.
Ooh.
And then I'll have something unique to say about the 2020s. But 2010s, for me, I don't want to be too depressing, but you get some really good stuff from Marshall.
Yeah.
So, Recovery, not really my thing, but it was widely successful, very innovative by Eminem. And then for me, the Marshall Mathers LP 2 was fantastic with Rap God. And I think the reason it's worth a mention, whether you like Eminem or not, is that he broke Guinness Book of World Records stuff in that. And it was so innovative.
Right.
It was the first of the new school by a 90s artist.
Yeah, that was fucking amazing.
You got to admit it was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Especially that track with, who is it, Rihanna? That's on there.
Yeah, Love the Way You Lie.
Yeah, right. That was just the biggest fucking thing in the world.
God, heard that everywhere.
And it really, again, like we're talking about how females became much more normalized in this.
Yeah.
That is another perfect example.
Oh, yeah.
Of that, kind of becoming a coalition of, well, it's not R&B and it's not straight hardcore rap. It's hip hop.
Exactly.
Right? So for me, that's what I think of a lot is that record. Obviously, there's so many more. I go to the underground again from there. You get towards the late 2010s, and for me, Ouija Mac was the biggest discovery for me of it. And when I'm talking about artists I discovered that were new at the time in the 2010s, Ouija Mac was incredibly interesting in 2018-19.
Yeah.
But I'm leaving a lot out there. Help me fill it in.
So,
because I know you have a lot of knowledge there.
Yeah, so
I'll be right back, y'all.
So
anybody in the chat?
Yeah, let me hit the chat real quick. So let's see here. Oh, let me scoot up. Guys, this is how I know I need to get my eyes checked because I definitely can't see from afar nowadays. Lord. All right, so let's see. We got meat hooks. Once you get to 03, the next 5 years belong to 50 and G Unit. Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, it is, well, in the mainstream for sure.
Yeah.
Overall, 100%.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about
even Jay said that when the shit was coming out, whatever y'all got going on, get it out because 50 is coming.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you had
and X was at the end of his 5-year run.
Exactly.
It was just right.
And, you had 50 with Get Rich or Die Trying. The G Unit debut album, Beg for Mercy, was great.
So underappreciated, which we've talked about before. But you had The Field, which is everybody else. 50 G Unit Shady. Aftermath. I mean, it was that extreme. It really was that extreme.
And again, that was and that was another album that me and my brothers had on repeat every weekend I was over there.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. Let's see. Suge mentions Lil Flip, Sunshine, Don't Start. Oh yeah, I remember Sunshine. That song for me by Lil Flip, Sunshine. That was one where I started to kind of be like, yeah, okay, I feel you, Lil Flip, but I like Game Over and stuff like that.
Yeah, me too. I liked his harder rap styles.
Yeah, me too.
Especially when I was younger, I couldn't do anything that was softer. I only wanted the edges.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm older, we all mature and we develop like a flower. And more things we're receptive to.
Right.
But when you're young, it's very niche.
Yeah.
You're just by default niche when you're young.
Right.
And you don't think you are. You think you listen to everything, but you fucking don't.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, at the age I was when that came out, I would have told him he was stupid and wrong. As an older person, I'd have to go back and listen to it.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, no, same, dude.
And again, it's not just my opinion; it's the masses. We're talking about hip hop as a whole, which is a lot of people, man.
Yeah,
the whole world, really.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. Anybody else?
Yeah. No. Looks like Alex dropped some more comments here.
Oh yeah. What's up, Alex?
2000s is also when I fell into the rabbit hole of Minnesota underground rap via rhyme sayers. I guess we'll have to touch on that.
All right, Alex. Please don't.
Oh Lord, Alex knows I have mixed thoughts about that.
Oh shit. All right. So this isn't going to be a hate speech, so don't think that's what this is either. So rhyme sayers. I in the late 2000s, I worked at a place called Peacemakers, Area 420, which is a head shop on Hennepin Avenue, directly across the street from Fifth Element. And the boys would come over, and I've smoked with Slug and a bunch of those guys when I was just a teenager, and I wasn't into their music too much. God Loves Ugly, everyone liked that. Even
of
me.
Course.
I liked that album. It was great. Brother Ali was a prick in person, but we're here to talk about music, right? Saw him in concert. Worst live performer I've ever seen. And, Riff Raff does exist, so hold on. He's now second place. But as for rhyme sayers, there was a lot of great talent there, particularly if you're asking me. And again, remember, music, it's personal opinion. That's how it works. Idea and abilities, to me, was much more interesting and more rap because I didn't like a lot of the sing-song stuff. I still really don't too much. I do some. Like I said, I've grown. But I like the rap shit. Even if it's just backpack rap shit. So idea and abilities were very attractive to me. Slug is a great rapper, but the whole atmosphere thing, I'm just telling you from my perspective, growing up out in Minnetonka where I did not fit in at all, every 15-year-old girl walking around screaming, "If life gives you lemons, paint that shit gold." It just felt like the biggest fucking stain to what I had lived and breathed. And these little, I know it sounds like gatekeeping, and maybe it is, and maybe I'm a dick for that, but I was also like so much younger at the time, and I maybe see it different now. But I've listened to a lot of their music, and I have to be honest, not a ton of it vibes with me. Now, that's for atmosphere, not all of Rhymesayers.
Yeah.
What I will say about Rhymesayers is people, dude, they were some of the freshest hip hop motherfuckers to deal with. Because I would go over across the street. Again, I worked across the street, and then you had Kowalski's on the other side. So
yeah,
lunch record store,
yeah,
lunch record store, smoke, and pretend to work. And
yeah.
they would genuinely, like, if I went in there and said, "Hey man, would y'all get some of this and that up in here?" They would do it. And they had it was such a small record store.
Yeah.
They had Necro before anyone knew who Necro was. I'm talking the mid 2000s, late 2000s. They had Nonfiction, vinyls. Like they had speaking of Nonfiction and the 2000s, that is a group anyone should check out.
Yes.
They were a super group of underground masters. And since we're talking Rhymesayers, I mean, I think a lot of those folks from that era would love Nonfiction.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little harder for them, but I think they'd love Nonfiction. Check it out.
Right.
Ill Bill back in the day, produced by Necro, Sabak Red, Gore-Tex, etc. Them boys. But for me, Rhymesayers, yes, I give them credit. Yes, I salute them on their success. I just don't think that the music is as good as Minnesotans have told me it is.
Facts.
For 20-something years, and that's where I'll leave it. It's no offense to anybody. Love you, Alex.
And I'll touch on that a little bit, and then I know had a few more comments. But going off of what you said, as you know, and as Alex knows as well, I too was exposed to Rhymesayers via.
I'm not calling them shit.
No, I mean, no, I feel you though. I think in ways by their fan base, they are very overrated.
Yeah, I think it's their fan base. I think their fan base is far more to blame than they ever.
Absolutely. And I've dealt with that firsthand, as you know.
White people telling you to your face that they are gods.
Yeah.
They are gods amongst men who have spoken the poetry of crying Catherine out in Bloomington.
Yeah. And it's like they're not bad, but they're not as good as people make them seem. Like there are some songs I enjoy,
nice,
but
dude. That's
that's how it is though. Like they're all right, but they're simply not as good as people hype them up to be. My older brother Bryce and I have talked about this too ad nauseum. Like
maybe we're just not meant to get it.
Yeah, exactly. Me, Bryce. Maybe we're not meant to get it.
Maybe we're just not meant to fucking get it. Yeah. Just like there's so many people who look at this shit right here and have for years, and see nothing but clown and in a literal sense and stupid and all the names I've been called. Oh my God. Fortunately, that's changed a lot for the better.
Yeah.
And they'll never see it. They'll never get it. They'll never get what juggalos are about. They'll never get it. And that's fine. And I get why they wouldn't get it. But for us, we don't. I'm not painting shit gold. I like silver anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, but to their music and what they accomplished as a legitimate Minneapolis label, because we got to be honest, it's not like there's a bunch of success that has come out of the Twin Cities in rap.
Yeah.
People can lie. They can be delusional if they want to. The Twin Cities is not a hub of hip hop. It's not. It never has been. I'm not going to say it never will be, but it never has been. It's been a one-unit show that is Rhymesayers, and either you're with them or you're not, and you feel kind of pressured by peers to like them more than you do. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, enough about Rhymesayers. Definitely, they deserve their spot, their page, not a chapter, but their own page in hip hop. I will give them that.
Yeah.
Comments. Before we get to the 2020s here.
Yeah. So, Shug, I see your wrestling comments here. Tell me about Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar reaction. I'll speak on that really quick. I want to try to keep it to the hip hop, but yeah, in terms of Brock and Cody, I thought that was really interesting. I didn't expect Brock to shake Cody's hand at the end, but pretty solid match. But let me get back to the hip hop real quick. Meet
Hip hop.
hip hop take us to the top.
To
Take
the
us
top,
what?
to the top, to the top. You have to do it super off time. Danny K.
Danny K, baby.
1987 gem.
Let's see. Why I want to
now known as Danny K-A-E.
Yeah.
Danny K. Always excelling.
Yeah. Let's see. Meat Hook said, "Get Rich or Die Trying" is the last flawless, true golden era rap, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. I could not argue with that one fucking bit.
Yeah. And it was interesting to me, segueing, just finishing off the 2010s, is that there was still good rap. Even MGK was still good.
Well, the underground existed.
Yeah.
But I know we're talking a lot about mainstream.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I didn't...
You didn't listen to none of that then. So
towards the other end of the 2010s, where you put me on, that was where I got more exposed. But
fair enough.
Pre, like 2015, I was starting to, get more exposed to some of the newer guys who did have that talent. MGK, when he was actually good. I can think of
when he rapped instead of ran with his tail for a pink guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like it's funny.
He could rap. That's what blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
He could actually rap, not as well as Eminem. Doesn't matter. He was great. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, that's funny because I talk about this with Alex on occasion. MGK was good. I can think of car rides. Me, Alex, and Bryce were bumping the shit out of Wild Boy by MGK and Waka Flocka. And other, MGK songs off of his Lace Up album when he was good. But then you had other artists come in like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, even Wale, who were starting to carry the torch for this blog era, newer era of rap that really caught my ear.
Hold on. In this era that we're talking about, I think Yellow Wolf deserves a mention.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the person I know Alex fucks with.
Yeah, because Yellow Wolf, I mean, his first big hits were like late 2000s, but he's definitely a 2010s guy.
Oh, for sure.
And also has that kind of, I think he's from Alabama, Southern style.
Yeah.
While also being a white boy skater.
Right.
He was identifiable with a whole new subset that was also a large portion of population.
Yes, exactly.
So I do want to give Yellow Wolf a big fucking salute for that decade.
Yeah, hell yeah.
One of the top artists of that decade.
Oh, no, absolutely. And that's someone I wasn't as exposed to, but once, a few songs got shown to me.
Such a catchy voice, man.
Oh, most definitely.
And performer.
Yes.
Now, 2020s, right? We're 3 years in. Ouija Mac has been the biggest developing artist of the 2020s thus far. And
I'd agree with that.
That's mainstream or underground hip hop. I don't fucking care what you think or what you listen to as far as a developing, meaning started somewhere and where they are now, developing. No one has done what he's done over the last 3 years. Yeah. Now, we have something, and we're going to be doing a video about this, maybe even putting it out pretty soon. But there is a duo. Yeah. There is now a duo of the 2020s. And I feel comfortable saying that.
Fuck yeah.
Their name is Clockwork E.
Yes, sir.
Kyle Combs. Billy D.
Billy D.
The Aliens. Don't judge a book by its cover, y'all. We're going to link some Clockwork in this bitch.
Oh, yeah.
And show you. Clockwork E is a duo from Ohio. I'm not exactly sure how old they are. I think Bryce and I agreed that we think they're somewhere in their late 20s.
Yeah, mid to late 20s.
Mid to late 20s. That's what we think. They are new. They started together as Clockwork E. I don't know how long they've been individually rapping. Different people, do you start from when you wrote your first rhyme in 7th grade? I mean, you do, but that's because you stayed with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or do you now? In their case, I don't know beyond 2021, but they formed a duo in 2021. I don't know of any solo stuff before that, but in 2 years, They have played the main stage at the Gathering. And even if you're not a juggalo, understand it's a festival of 10,000 people.
Oh, yeah. Okay?
So there's that. If you get on a main stage, 10,000 in 2 years, you're fucking winning.
Oh, yeah,
and
dude.
They are unique.
Yes.
I want to save some of this for the full video on them. But I'm telling you, as far as the 2020s go, they have me excited when before them, I felt like all I had was Ouija, which was a lot.
Yeah.
With his output and all that stuff. You got Hex, I mean, a few others.
Right.
But now we have a duo.
Yes.
And a duo I have the utmost confidence in.
Same, dude.
They are incredibly unique. They can do disco dance music in a way that a hip-hop head can love.
Yeah.
They can do straight gutter shit, rapping about crackheads. They can do funny shit. They can do serious stuff like their song No Sleep.
Oh, yeah, dude. Right? I love that one.
They don't look like anything you think is hip-hop. And yet hip-hop doesn't have an identity, so who fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost faceless, right?
Exactly.
So I'm telling you, Clockwork E, KLOKWERKE. Look them up.
Look them up, y'all.
They are what has me excited to see the middle of this decade.
Yes.
And then the rest is kind of we'll see. Because a lot of our favorites are getting old.
Oh, yeah. Nas still making albums, getting old.
Even the clowns. I mean, people are getting old.
Yeah.
I mean, Ouija's going to keep going, I believe. I think he's
for sure.
He's all gas right now. I think he's all gas.
Yeah.
Hex has a new album coming out.
That's right.
But we don't have, in the mainstream, they're not giving me shit right now. I don't.
Yeah.
Dude, I try. I legitimately try, but there is. Am I forgetting something? Is there something that's mainstream right now that you and I like?
I can't think of anything from like any of the current artists. Like if I think of like, you know, a J. Cole or a Kendrick.
Yeah, but that's
maybe.
More 20. That's
that's what I'm saying with you. Like I can think of those artists, but anyone from 2020, like the 2020,
like yeah,
I'd be hard pressed, man.
So, that's what makes me happy about Clockwork, though.
Yeah,
you can either look at it as, oh boy, the field is so blank, hip hop's dead, right? Like the cover of Necro's album "Die, Here Lies Hip Hop" 1978 to I think at the time it said 2009.
Yeah,
it feels dead, but yet we have these flashes in the pan that we got to bet on. And I've seen them in person. I've talked to them. I mean, we got hope. It's just
definitely.
It's just hard to see. I think when you feel like it's cluttered with so much bullshit.
I mean, a great
Cardi B, all this.
Yeah. Well, and a great example, and I remember telling my mom this after it went off. Like, her and I watched the BET Awards a few months ago, and they did a tribute to, you know, hip hop, 50th anniversary of hip hop, and I liked all the tribute acts way more than any of the current acts I saw.
Oh, of course.
Like hands down, I was like tribute acts. It was night and day. Night and day.
Look, we sound old, like old heads, right? And that's fucking fine. That's just fucking fine. We're very broad. We're broad-minded. We can listen to a ton of different things. Yeah. But we got to put our foot down somewhere.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, Lil Pump, Lil Uzi Vert, these guys are garbage. They should do other things, but God bless them for being rich, I suppose. That's like the nicest thing I can say.
Right.
But again, we're keep it positive. We have Ouija Mac.
Yep.
We have Clockwork, a true duo. They're young.
Yes.
They've got a lot to offer.
Yep.
They played the main stage. They're getting a lot of genuine support in the right way. They're putting in genuine work. And, you know, we're going to have more. I mean, there's other names. Okay, I want to be clear. Apollo Exodus, he's a guy who's doing some unique music. Jay Arax, another guy doing really unique music. That's good. But we're a little ways we got to recuperate from the 2010s. A little bit, you know what I mean? I feel like there's this 15-year area where we all want to get back to 03 or something. Yeah. Right? And
for real.
And it doesn't need to sound like 03, but the vibe, as the kids would say, needs to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that these crews can provide that, and I know who to bet on. So 50 years of hip hop, man. It's amazing to think it's that old.
Yes, dude. And the fact that like what we covered isn't even all of it, you know. There's so much that like we didn't get to cover, but there's just so much.
If we talked about every artist that affected every decade, like this video, we'd be here until this time tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, so we just have to talk speak personally from the heart, and what affected our lives and stuff. And of course, there's things we forgot that.
Oh, of course.
We'll watch this back and go, why didn't we mention that?
Right.
It happens. It's live. We're live, pal.
All right, pal.
But you know what? I think that is an honorable list of names to mention.
Yes.
And how it affected us and where we are today, like what we're able to do for a semi-living here.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing, and a lot of it's because of music and particularly the hip-hop scene.
Absolutely.
Which is hip-hop, juggalo, right? Or, juggalo's kind of its own thing, but just all this different stuff we get to share together.
Exactly.
That's what hip-hop is about to me. Hip-hop has a sharing attitude and also a willingness to go get it attitude in a way that other genres of music just don't have.
Exactly. And to add to the shared experience of it, you can literally rap a line of a song and someone across the room or someone next to you will probably know the next damn line of the song.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't love doing that in the Facebook comment section, right?
Yeah.
Someone hits a lyric, someone gets the next bar, you get the next bar, and it just goes until the verse is done. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, who doesn't love that, man?
Look, no offense to Grateful Dead or anything, but I don't see anyone doing that with Deadhead songs or Beatles songs. I mean, maybe they do, or maybe all their fans are dead. I don't know. we're all on our way anyway.
Yeah.
But hip hop has a unique bondage to it of people's souls.
Yes.
Right. So unless there is anything else on your mind,
well, I guess for me, I'd just say, hey, shout out to hip hop for being 50 fucking years old, man. I mean, it's inspired me just to rap myself, 17, 18 years out of the 50,
Yeah, that's damn right. And look, you are also another perfect example of what we're just talking about with hip hop and as kids growing and listening to it.
Yeah.
You have grown in making it.
Yeah.
Exponentially.
Thank you.
I mean, you go back 10 years ago and you slap yourself. Or you go back 10 years ago and your younger self listens to you now, and I bet he'd be amazed.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's again that growth of a flower, that whole analogy. It's been a cool experience, and it never ends. I've learned that. I kind of got to a point I thought, maybe my late 20s, like, I've heard everything that's good to be heard. No, that's never true. That's never true. Music, you and I could explore a new album a week for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And never be disappointed.
Exactly.
And
all sorts of new sounds that are out there.
Did it. He and I did it for a year. We listened to a minimum of one album together. I was in Florida. He was in Minnesota. We'd hit play at the same time in different time zones. At least one album a week. It was often 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah.
One a night, if not 2 a night.
Yep.
And I'd say, oh, you haven't heard this one, dog? I'll show it to you. Or he'd show me ones.
Yeah.
And that is one of the greatest series of memories I have in my life.
Same, dude. It got us both through a lot.
Yeah, through a lot. The pandemic.
Oh,
everything
man.
Just saying are you ready, dog? Yeah, I'm ready. All right, hit play. We hit play at the same time, texting each other the whole time about our favorite bars.
Yes.
The production. He'd of course point out every sample, ruining the fun for me. Have a black rapping producer best friend, they said. But no, it really, I'm a curious guy, so I love the educational nature. But to hip hop, we salute you. 50 years.
50 years.
AWR ain't going nowhere either.
Exactly.
So, a little bit of a secret, but yet not so much. We're going to be exploring a duo soon.
Yeah.
And that video will be in, a few days, maybe a week or so. You don't know, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
But something we're very excited to do. Deep dives.
Yes, sir.
Real thoughts. Real opinions. And we appreciate yours as always.
We appreciate
Hit the like
y'all.
and subscribe button if you would like to. We will have a new giveaway coming up soon. We want to get up to that 400 subscriber mark.
Yes, sir.
And then we will hook someone up with something unique and fresh.
Yeah.
Yes,
some more of that freshness.
Yet again.
Yeah.
So help, you enjoy our content. We enjoy you guys participating. So anyone else in the chat here before we log out of here?
Yeah,
because that is important to us.
Let's see what we got here. Alex, he said, "Don't make me pop the trunk on you." I assume, what was that, MGK, Alex, or is that Bone Crusher? I can't Can't remember if that's more MGK or.
I've heard that line a lot this year. This whole pop the trunk thing.
Yeah, I just remember.
What is it with the pop the trunk thing? No, we love you, Alex.
Yeah, love you, dog.
Dude, look, everyone likes, that's part of what makes hip hop so unique is people have such differing opinions,
right?
And it comes from the same place of love for the for the music.
Absolutely.
And that I will always respect a Rhyme Sayers fan for, because at least they love their music and they know their music.
Right.
So I ain't taking nothing away from you, dog. And sorry, go on.
Let's see. Let me read a few more here. Let's see. Mr. S. Contrary to mainstream belief. Here we go. Sir Mix-a-Lot was not a one-hit wonder. Something you've talked about.
Absolutely true.
Posse on Broadway says it all. Besides my hoopty, swap me.
My hoopty.
Yeah, no, that's something, Corey, you've talked about with me for a while now.
I try to tell anyone who will listen, the man is not a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
It's not, and he was thugging.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Anybody else?
Let's see. Let me get one final. Oh, Yellow Wolf. Okay. Makes sense, Alex. What we got here? MC Wicksplitter said, we need to peep out Top Authority. They're from Flint Town.
Ooh, Flint Town Wonder.
Okay.
I mean, we fuck with Flint Town. You already know that. Project Born forever, baby.
Yeah.
Monstar Entertainment forever, baby.
Fuck yeah.
We'll have to ask Gary about him.
Yeah.
See if he's. I'm sure he's.
Come
on.
Course.
He knows everything Flint.
Yeah.
I think if you said, look, I lost a pebble. Where'd you lose it? In Flint. What street? All right, I'll go find it.
Yeah.
If it's Flint, Gary knows about it. So, yeah, that's it, y'all. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching, y'all.
All wrongs reserved. Forever.
Ever.
Deuces.
Peace.
50 years of hip hop.
50 years. Yeah, yay.
We out.